And the title of this conference is Individualism in an Age of Tribalism. And I think we are in an age of tribalism. It is not the case that if you look at our culture broadly, and you'll see this, I think, in a lot of the talks later today, that there are groups of people united by ideas, that our society is in a conflict of groups of people organized around different ideas and arguing back and forth. We are in a period of tribalism, and you can see that if you think about the dominant factions in politics, the so-called left and the so-called right. If you think about all the things that the right has in common that they're interested in today, various religious positions like being anti-abortion and being anti-gay, various nationalist and protectionist positions which have come to dominate recently, anti-trade, anti-immigrant, anti-what they call globalists, also being for gun rights, also thinking the family is super important, also having some vague remnants of an interest in capitalism and so wanting lower regulations and lower taxes and being semi-quasi almost pro some industries, and now being anti-establishment. And then you think of the contrary positions associated with the left, being environmentalist, being advocates of various groups that they see as persecuted and disadvantaged in various ways, racial, gender groups, sexual minorities, and so forth, being for labor unions, being attracted to socialism, also being anti-establishment. There's nothing that holds everything on the left side together as opposed to everything on the right side together. Or there's no reason why all the positions on the right should belong together as opposed to the positions on the left, other than accidental sociological factors, that these things happen to get grouped together by certain groups. And you can see that by the fact that they change over time, like at one point being in favor of women having the right to vote went along with wanting to ban alcohol. Now those things have nothing to do with one another, right? And if you look at what does unite everything on all the people on the right, what all the people moved by these different considerations, and one person may be moved by several of them, have in common, it's really primarily opposition to the left. And likewise, if you look at people on the left and think about what do they have in common, it's opposition to the right. If you think of the right as something that includes everything from the church preacher who's concerned about family values, to the Klansmen concerned about the white race being diminished, to the members of the Better Business Bureau. What do all these people have in common that makes them think of themselves as on the right? They really hate and are worried about the people on the left, who they think are worse than any of the other ones in their coalition. And likewise, if you go to the person who's a strong defender of abortion rights, and the person who is a member of a Antifa black bloc, and the person who is a democratic socialist, what do they all have in common when those positions really have, well, the socialism and the black bloc does, but not that much to do with each other? Well, again, it's thinking the right is the menace. And these are tribes that are opposed to each other as tribes. And I think that's the situation that